Some questions don't just change what you know, they change who you become. Welcome to Chapter 4 of The Human Condition, a documentary series exploring the invisible forces that shape our thoughts, choices, and lives. Imagine spending your years dreaming about freedom. You count the days. You imagine the moment the door finally opens. You tell yourself, everything will be different. Then one morning, the lock clicks. The door slowly swings open. Sunlight floods the room. Fresh air rushes in. And yet, you don't move. Not because you're chained. Not because someone is stopping you. But because somewhere along the way, you stopped believing you could live. Perhaps the greatest prison is not the one that keeps us in, but the one that convinces us not to walk out. There comes a moment in every life when the people who shaped us are no longer in the room. The teacher who doubted us, the relative who constantly criticized us, the bully, the impossible standard, and the painful memory. Time moves on. The voices disappear, but something remains. We begin speaking to ourselves with those same voices. Without realizing it, we become our own guard. We reject ourselves before anyone else can. We silence our ideas before they are heard. We apologize for taking up space. We hesitate before trying. Not because someone else told us no, but because we've learned to say it to ourselves. There is a strange comfort in familiarity, even painful familiarity. Psychologists have long observed that people often return to familiar patterns, not because those patterns are healthy, but because they are predictable. The known can feel safer than the unknown. Imagine standing at the edge of a new life, a healthier relationship, a new career, a bold dream, a fresh beginning. The opportunity you've been waiting for finally arrives. And then, a quiet voice whispers, "What if you fail?" So you stay exactly where you are. Not because the opportunity was not real, but because the familiar felt safer than the possibility of change. Sometimes we mistake comfort for security. They are not the same. Here is something remarkable about the human mind. Once we've built an identity around a story, that story begins protecting itself. If you believed for years that you are not creative, your mind may dismiss moments that prove otherwise. If you believed you are not a leader, you will often remember your mistakes more vividly than your successes. It's not that the evidence is not there. It is that our attention naturally follows the stories we already believe. The story becomes both the author and the editor. Freedom rarely arrives as one dramatic moment. It often begins with a single quiet decision. A decision to question, to try, to rewrite one sentence, to replace "this is who I am" with "this is who I have been until now." Perhaps becoming free is not about becoming someone new. Perhaps it's about finally giving yourself permission to become who you were before fear wrote the script. If today's chapter made you see yourself differently, we would love to hear your thoughts. What is one invisible prison you've decided to leave behind? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need this conversation today. And if these conversations inspire you and you would like to help us continue creating thoughtful documentaries exploring philosophy, psychology, consciousness, spirituality, historical wisdom, and the mysteries of the human experience, please consider supporting Novara Wisdom Gems through the links in the description. Your support helps us invest in better research, better production, and reach more people around the world. Because some questions don't just change what you know, they change who you become. But if we are capable of becoming our own jailers, Why do we spend so much of our lives wearing masks that hide who we truly are? In our next chapter, we will explore one of the oldest survival strategies in human history: the masks we wear. Until next time, keep questioning.